Thank you all for coming. My name is Eli Ungar. I'm delighted to be here with you to celebrate the beginning of the construction of this wonderful building, 100 North Kingshighway. We had the idea to ask people to write letters and to put them in a storage device that will be opened in 100 years. And I have no idea what the world is going to look like in 100 years, but I'm pretty sure that in 100 weeks this location is going to look profoundly different. And I couldn't be more excited to see what this building looks like. We wouldn't be here today without the support of a number of folks that I want to quickly thank. Mayor Cruson and Alderman Rohde, who in many ways, some obvious and some more subtle, made this possible. And the determination that Alderman Rohde showed in helping us get this building to this stage was exceeded only by his determination that this project be good for the community and for the neighbors. And I want to thank him for his tolerance of the few changes that we made along the way that complicated his life dramatically. So thank you. Otis from the city was instrumental in our getting here today. I want to thank the folks from the Park Central Development Corp, Abdul and Brooks, who were also incredibly helpful in steering us in good directions over the last year and a half. I want to thank our two major partners on this project, Studio Gang, with whom we've had the privilege of designing and building 7 or 8 different projects together, and Clayco. These firms are the perfect choices for a project of this caliber and quality and location. And we couldn't be more excited to do this project with Studio Gang, and we are very excited to begin our relationship with Clayco and expect that we'll be standing somewhere nearby at a podium like this on an equally sunny day soon, talking about our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th projects together. So thank you both. The architects assure me that the building will actually stand up and not leak, which is great, and Clayco tells me that it'll probably stand up and not leak, which is also great. So thank you all. I have an opportunity regularly to bring some of our investors to this community to see what we're doing and to look at this site in advance of their participation in this project. And it is remarkable. Most of the folks who come with me on these tours have never been here before. And every single one leaves saying, I am struck by what an extraordinary community this is. They are stunned by the architectural history, by the diversity, by the cultural and institutional depth of this neighborhood, by its sheer beauty, by the size and glory of the park. And they leave here wondering where this has been all their lives. And it is a real privilege for us to be able to be associated with a project like this in a location like this. And it is our absolute determination to build a building that will be a credit to this community for many, many decades to come. And I want to introduce Alderman Rohde to please say a few words.
Thank you, Eli. Now you know why he's successful. He goes ahead and knows how to butter up the local alderman. I told the mayor earlier that I'm going to take, as long as I'm taking credit for everything, I'm going to take credit for the weather today too, and try to pull rank on her. This is really an exciting day for St. Louis and particularly for the residents of Central West End and the 17th Ward. We are just delighted and enthused that we were able to have someone of Eli's caliber to come in and take a risk in an investment in a neighborhood like ours. This is great times. It's going to be a real game changer. The architect on this project is probably the most significant architect on a St. Louis building, probably since the time that we had the Johnson Berge building built downtown. And to have that at this location, I think will make it an instant landmark. It's a real investment in our community. We're really excited about that. It's great that the incredible team that Eli's assembled. Obviously, the architect Jeannie Gang is internationally recognized. Of course, we have our local contractor, Bob Clark, and Bob has built, I think, a huge hunk of the 17th Ward down here, Bob, and we're glad that you're able to make an addition, that we're able to get a great St. Louis contractor involved in this. Locally, Tip O'Neill was found to say that all politics is local, and I don't think that's any different here in the 17th Ward or any large city in the United States. And down here, the big challenge in local politics is building consensus. And when you're trying to do anything and make a change, it is so easy to just leave things the way they are, and that change it takes effort. And here we we've been successful because we've been able to facilitate that change, and much of that change has happened as a result of the leadership of Park Central Development, previously Brooks and now Abdul, and of course the incredible amount of volunteers that we have serving on the various committees and boards. Brian Phillips, who chairs it since its inception with Horseshoe, has been phenomenal. As I look around the crowd, I'm going to mix somebody, but starting over here, we have Dan Helmuth, who has taken his skills and given his advice and leadership on so many issues. Mike with Cortex. Who else have I seen here? I saw Bill Keelings for a while served on it. Oh, here's Bill, and then we have, of course, our long. Thank you. Where else? I saw back in the back, Harold. Thank you, Harold. Thank all of you who've been serving on these boards and helping us facilitate and monitor and manage all the different levels of expectations. I was talking to Greg from over in the St. Regis. I ran into him yesterday, and he said his board of directors were split. Half of them liked the design and loved the contemporary aspect of it. The other half wanted something more traditional. That's local government, where you have to go ahead and actually on a one-by-one basis deal with these things. In St. Louis, in addition to all the land use and aesthetics, we are going through this whole process about the appropriate use of incentives, and one of the counter arguments, of course, is the role of gentrification. And everybody's worried about gentrification. We've lost, there are large swaths of our city that are coming out of the Great Recession. We are still 10 to 15% below the assessed values, and 5 or 6 wards throughout the city today they're lower today than what they were in 2010 as we were coming out of the recession. So we have tremendous depression of property values, and that translates, of course, into depressed taxable base for the city. And a little anecdote, I had the fortune of meeting a young architect who just moved back to town to start up practice, and he's located down on Newstead, a couple blocks from here. And he's moving from Seattle, and he was telling me that the rental rates for a small, nondescript studio apartment of 400 square feet was $4 a square foot in Seattle. This building, with a world-renowned architect, in St. Louis' premier location, is aspiring to get to $3 a square foot. So there is a huge difference in gentrification. The other issue is this whole idea that we're misusing incentives to go ahead and just throw money at projects that aren't necessary. Well, obviously, if we had higher rental rates, we might not have to incentivize projects as much. But I'd like to just walk you through for a couple seconds what is going to happen here from the standpoint of financially for the city. This surface parking lot for the last 30 or 40 years has been paying about $10,000 a year in taxes. Because of the 95% tax break, right after the building gets completed, for the first 10 years, that $10,000 will go to $100,000. After the 10 years, it'll be 50% abated, and it'll be contributing over $1 million a year in taxes. That's over 50% of the real estate taxes that are collected in a half dozen wards in the city of St. Louis. At the end of 15 years, it'll be collecting over $2 million in real estate taxes, which is more real estate taxes than are currently coming in a half dozen wards of the city of St. Louis. So this 1 acre of property that'll have 300 apartments on it will be contributing more real estate taxes than wards of several square miles that have 12,000 people living in them. Huge difference, an enormous economic impact for the city. We know historically that about half of the people that will be moving into this project will probably be coming from places other than the city. When they come, they will be bringing their personal property taxes for their cars. They'll be shopping at Whole Foods down the street and contributing to our sales taxes. If they, in order to afford to live in a place like this, they're going to have a pretty good earnings level, which means that they'll be contributing to the earnings tax, which they might not have. And if that's not enough, during the construction phases of this, we anticipate that the earnings tax from the people that are constructing the building will be somewhere in the $1 million to $2 million range. So this is going to have an enormous economic impact on the city. It's going to completely change it, and it's going to renew the investment community's confidence in the city if we can go ahead and pull something off like this. So it's really a big win for the city, any way you measure it. And it was people from Park Central to help us build those conversations and help us go through that to kind of sort through this whole consensus building process that we need in order to go ahead and move forward and make changes, because some people just don't like change. Now, with that as a backdrop, I want to go ahead and introduce the star of the show today, and that's our new mayor. She's somebody who is I've known for a very long time. She's represented the area immediately north to us for the last 15 or 20 years. We have consulted each other frequently, trying to coordinate our efforts in economic development as our wards bordered each other. She is someone of remarkable courage and tenacity. Despite an incredible personal tragedy, she stayed committed to the city. She's one of the most organized people that I know, and one of the most driven people I know. She's someone I've frequently sought over the years, personal advice, is everything from raising my kids to how we should approach negotiations with the real estate developer. So it's really been an honor knowing her and being able to introduce her today in her new role as mayor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a nice day, so we're going to keep you out here just a little bit longer. Let me just begin by thanking Mac Properties for taking on this incredible project. This is going to be iconic project, I think, for the city of St. Louis. You can see the design right here. There is nothing else like it in the city of St. Louis. And frankly, I think we are ready for something new in the city of St. Louis. So thank you, Mac Properties, for that. And of course, Studio Gang. In addition to this building, Mac Properties has a big investment here in the city of St. Louis with other buildings, the one to the south here and the one to the south of that, and some in the Central West End and some on Skinker. So they have invested in St. Louis in a big way. I think they are one of the developers who knows that St. Louis is unfortunately sort of a best kept secret. We're trying to make it not such a secret, and I think certainly this building will help us all to do that. Can you just imagine living here and looking out every day at Forest Park? I think that is a fabulous opportunity. So I believe after we're finished here, they will be taking applications for new apartments. So if anybody needs one of those, I think they'll be doing that. You know, the other thing I would say about this, and this really goes to the vision and the tenacity of Alderman Rohde, and that is that sometimes there's a saying and people will say to you, oh, something is better than nothing. But that's actually not true at all. We have waited a long time in order to get the right project on this site. And I think that is certainly a credit to Alderman Rohde and to Park Central and the folks that waited for the right thing, you know, because we're not building for today, we're not building for next year, we're building for 50 years from now. And what we do today impacts the kind of city that we'll be living in, or at least some of you will be living in 50 years from now, and your kids will be living in, we hope. And so it is important to really have high standards, and I think that's what is certainly being proposed here. It's very exciting for St. Louis. There are a lot of good things going on here, and you can read about some of them in the paper, and I think that our success and our opportunity here is being recognized by folks not only in St. Louis but around the country as well. I do want to, in addition to Mac Properties being a world-class developer and operator, of course we have a world-class contractor who's going to build this for us. You see his signs right back here in the back, Clayco. Bob Clark is here. Bob has built properties all over the world, and we know that we know it won't leak, Bob. We know that. And if it does, it'll be the architect's fault, right? No. So anyway, I'm just really excited to be with all of you today. This is one of the best things that a mayor gets to do, and that is to come and celebrate the successes of our city. And I see many of you here who I've known for a long time, and you have been instrumental in really helping us to move this city forward on so many levels. So thank you all. A huge thank you to Mac Properties. A huge thank you to Alderman Rohde and to Park Central and all the folks that have participated in this over the years. And this is an exciting day for St. Louis. Thank you all.
We are going to seal this up shortly. If anybody has anything they want to put in, please do. If anybody wants to put in some money in case we have any cost overruns, feel free. This is a great opportunity for everybody to feel like they're participating. I appreciate your little push for the apartments. Right. Anybody who likes to watch a construction project, there are a couple of apartments on the north side of Park Frontenac. And if you act fast, you'll have the best view in the city for the next 2 years. So please come up, please join us for some food and some drinks and help us celebrate this wonderful day for St. Louis. Thank you all very much.
Show us what you got.
I can't open for 100 years. So
Where will this be?
it's going to be buried under the lobby floor. And in 2118, it's going to be.
And who's going to be around to
Excellent. It's fine with me if it never comes back. All right.
Cool. Time capsule.
Let's see.